What's going on, everybody? My name's Nick,
And I'm Joe.
and we're Nick,
Nick
and
and
Joe.
Joe.
Welcome back to our channel, or welcome for your first time. Today, different kind of video, exciting kind of video.
Yes.
What are we doing today?
Today, I'm going to give you my little presentation
Uh-huh.
giving the timeline of what's going on with 50/50 and them suing their company.
You say little PowerPoint. I saw a quick glance. It looks like an in-depth analysis of what's going on with 50/50.
Yeah, I tried to focus more on the more confirmed aspects of the story
Ah,
because if I went into
rumors,
we're going to go into some rumors,
speculation.
some speculation, but if I included all of the rumors and speculation, this would be way too long of a PowerPoint.
Okay, so I have not seen this presentation. I have not done any research. The only song I know by 50/50 is Cupid.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, they had massive success with
Yes.
Cupid.
Yes.
But I've heard about this ongoing situation with 50/50,
Mm-hmm.
unfortunate situation. And I'm excited to learn more about it today. Hopefully, the viewers at home will learn along with
Yes.
me.
And then at the end, we can kind of give what our
Mm-hmm.
opinions on the matter. I have a lot because I've looked so much into it,
And
but
maybe after you explain
yeah,
it to me, I'll have an opinion.
yeah. So, let's just start
Let's
with.
do this.
All right.
I'm
Let's
ready.
go. Okay.
All right.
So, 50/50 sues Attrakt.
Attract is
Yes.
their label.
Attrakt is the label.
Okay, got it.
Yes. Which it's a pretty small label. But we will see. So, the people involved in this lawsuit are, of course, we're gonna keep going. Oh no, we're good. The members of 50/50.
Okay, a quartet.
Oh yes, four members.
Yes.
So we have Sena, Kina, Aran, and Shio.
Okay.
So those are the four members, and all four of them have sued the company to get rid of their exclusive contracts.
So they're each suing individually.
It's like as a group,
As
they
a
don't
group?
own like the
The 50/50
the 50/50 name and stuff like that.
They just want out of
They
the
just
contract.
yeah out of their exclusive contract,
Right.
which means not necessarily ending the contract, but that allows them to sign contracts with other. It's not
Got
would
it.
make it not an exclusive contract.
Okay.
Yeah. And then these are the two main people who
Okay.
are getting some. This is the main back and forth here.
Got it.
So we have the CEO of Attrakt, who is John Hongjun,
Mm-hmm.
and then the Giver's CEO, who's a producer known as Xian, but his name is An Song Il.
Okay.
And so Attrakt is their company.
Mm-hmm.
The Givers is a separate company.
Maybe a
that-
rival company.
No, they
Oh.
did the production for Cupid. So
Oh,
he was the
okay.
producer on Cupid,
Got it.
the Giver's CEO here, or one of the producers.
Mm-hmm.
And they also signed a contract with them to do some like promotional work, especially as it regards to like a lot of like overseas stuff
Yep.
and things like that. So they had a promotion contract. Like these two companies had a contract together to work on
The
50/50.
Givers is an entertainment company as well, not just production.
It's not I don't think it's exactly an entertainment company.
Oh.
I don't think they have their own artists and stuff. It's mainly him as a production company and then like a promotion kind of thing as well.
Maybe they have some partners in places
Yeah.
that Attract does not have partners.
Yeah. And I think it has to do with like the video shoots and the overseas promotions and like
Got
things
it.
like that.
Okay.
So he might have like different connections that help, like you said.
Yep.
I'm not exactly sure the exact dynamic, but I know that they have a contract.
Music industry is
Yes.
weird and complicated.
So we'll start with the debut.
Okay.
So they were trained for 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
and then they released their first pre-release single in November of 2022 called "Love in Me,"
Okay.
which is actually my favorite song by them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I've listened to that song quite a lot actually. And their debut EP, the 50, released on November 22nd, 2022,
Mm-hmm.
with "Higher" as the lead single. And then
And at this point, they're like a small group on a small label.
yes, it's a small group on a small label. They didn't chart in Korea right away, but they did end up on the Circle album chart at number 44 in Korea a few
Okay.
weeks after there.
So top 50.
Yeah, but in Korea, I don't know like what's good on for like
Sure,
an
yeah,
album
yeah,
chart.
yeah.
And this is based on album sales, which I think is a kind of outdated
Yeah.
metric. But yeah, and I do also remember. So I had a friend in Korea
Mm-hmm.
who really liked 50/50.
Okay.
So like she had shown them to me like probably in like maybe in like January or December or something. It was like right before I left Korea, so probably January.
Mhm.
We like went on a trip and we were driving and she like put on 50/50 and was like, "Oh, I really
Cool.
like this like newish group that came out, whatever."
Yeah.
And I remember thinking like, "Oh, I really like the sound. It's more like American style pop rather
Mhm.
than like the whole like really K-pop kind of
Mhm.
thing." But I did honestly didn't really listen to them that much after that. So
Cupid.
Cupid. So their first single album, The Beginning, Cupid, released along with the music video for Cupid on February 23rd, 2023.
Okay.
So soon after this, a fan-made sped up version, of course, went viral on TikTok and Instagram
That's
Reels.
crazy that it was
Yeah.
fan made.
And
Yeah.
yeah, and this was like the beginning of their massive success, obviously.
Yeah.
And the thing is that there was a single album called The Beginning Cupid,
Hmm.
but it had Cupid and then Cupid Twin version, which was
Hmm.
the English version.
Got it.
And it was called Twin version because only two of the members were in it.
Oh,
So there's like two
because
like
they only speak
singers.
English?
No, it's like the two that really like sing the most.
Okay.
Honestly, I'm surprised. Like I've watched videos and they're all really good singers, but for the most part, in most of their songs, like Aran and Shio do most of the singing, and
Hmm.
those are the two who are in the twin version.
Main vocals.
Yeah, like the kind of main vocals, but they're all actually good at singing. I've
Hmm.
watched like live videos of them and stuff, so I'm kind of confused by that. But like that's kind of how they did it. So Cupid entered the Billboard Hot 100 on March 27th, 2023, which is 1 month after it came out. They're the sixth group in K-pop history to do so, and the fastest after their debut. With BTS, they're only the second Korean group to ever get on the Pop Airplay chart,
Wow.
and they're the highest. It's the highest ever charting song on the Pop Airplay chart by a girl group, but obviously they're the only other group besides BTS. So it's the
Right.
only girl group that's ever been on the Pop Airplay chart, like the
Right.
actual radio in the U.S.
Yeah.
Um, so
That's insane.
yeah,
So they
but
went from 0 to 100 like
yeah,
so fast.
but by the time all this happened in the U.S., the Korean like promotions for Cupid were like over,
Mm-hmm.
and they had never really gotten started doing like U.S. promotions.
Well, they probably never even expected
Yeah,
this.
so they did like a couple of videos where they performed like the twin version of Cupid and stuff like that on YouTube, but they never did like any major U.S. promotions, and I think that kind of ties back into the story later.
Okay.
In my opinion, I'm not
If
100%
I'm
sure.
running a company
Yeah.
and let's say the group is in Korea and they have this, this album comes out,
Mhm.
Cupid comes out, and they're finished their promotion with that, and then all of a sudden there's this explosion in the U.S.
Yeah.
I'm saying, hey, let's head over, let's do press in the
Yeah.
U.S.
hmm But there's some things that get in the way here.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay.
yes. So, Aran ends up getting surgery.
Hmm.
So, on May 2nd, Attrakt put out this statement on her health, and I'll just read the whole thing.
This is, of course, coming from the label.
This is coming from the label.
Hmm.
So, this was on May 2nd. So, maybe like a little over a month after the song hit um, like the airplay chart or just like the Hot 100. So, it hit the Hot 100, and that's like a big deal, but it wasn't
Yep.
like quite on the airplay chart until like later.
Okay.
So this was like a massive pop song in the U.S. at this point,
Yeah.
but she needs to get surgery. So she said, Aaron recently experienced discomfort during practice and visited the hospital for a full checkup. She has received periodic treatment during her promotions, but after her latest checkup, it was advised that she should undergo surgery if she wishes to recover as soon as possible.
Mm.
So the agency has consulted both her and her parents regarding her continued activities, and based on her wishes to promote, she has participated in group activities as long as they did not require overexertion.
Okay.
So then earlier today, after a lengthy consultation, she chose to go through with the surgery, and it was carried out this morning. Surgery was successful, and she is currently resting while recovering. Agency intends on prioritizing the artist for recovery and will make a decision on her future activities based on the advice of medical experts.
So we don't know, like, is it a neck like
Yeah,
injury or an ankle injury, or
yeah.
is it like something internal?
No, we don't know anything. So, but this kind of ties into where I think they were not able to do promotions for
Sure.
US stuff as like a full group.
They want their member to be healthy.
Yeah, so it says like she experienced discomfort during practice, whatever. So this was probably a thing that was going on for like at least a couple weeks before the actual surgery, like some
Yeah.
period of time where they were like deliberating. Like she's like, "Oh, I'll do this, but I don't want like." And the doctor said like, "Oh, we'll do physical therapy for this long, and if it doesn't get better, we have to do surgery."
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing. That's all speculation, but usually these things don't happen that fast. Like it takes kind of time.
Yeah. Trying to
So
figure out what the problem
yeah,
is.
so I'm
trying to figure out
assuming
what's
like
the best thing to do.
around the time that Cupid was like huge in the US is probably when she's like getting these checkups and like doing all this
Yeah.
stuff and feels like, oh, I can't like do full choreography,
Hmm.
can't like do all this stuff. Because the video I did see of them singing Cupid was them sitting down in the studio singing it.
Okay.
So like I think like that kind of stuff she was able to do, maybe other things not able to do. So they I read an article at this time or I saw a tweet that linked to an article or something that said that the agency was like wanting to do US promotions, but was unable to because of this. And I couldn't find that article when I was doing the research, but I remember reading that
Hmm.
that like they wanted to do, not that they were like trying to push her to do it, but that just that
They
obviously they would,
cited that as the reason they
yeah, or
couldn't.
they wanted to do it,
Oh,
but this was the reason that they couldn't. And I honestly, from the company's perspective, you can understand that
sure.
they would want to, but they were just not really able to do everything that they wanted to do at that time.
Yeah.
So trouble begins.
This is where the trouble begins.
Yes,
Cupid came out
February,
February,
and then it
and
hit the Hot 100
March.
in March 27th, and then she got her surgery May 2nd.
So
So
this is
about a
like a
month and a half, a month and a week after the song hit the Hot 100.
yeah. It blew up.
Yeah.
That,
So
like
yeah,
from when it blew up,
from
and
when
then
yeah
she gets her surgery.
yeah within a month and a week.
Yep.
So it's all happening around the same time.
Yep.
Um, so on June 23rd, Attract releases a statement saying that external agencies are trying to poach 50/50, and they claim that as a small company, they're powerless to compete with like the larger companies that are
Sure.
trying to steal the group. So on June 26th, 3 days later, they say Warner Music Korea is one of the companies trying to steal them.
Hmm.
But Warner Korea released a statement about it that just flat out denied it.
They said they are not doing
Yeah.
that.
So they said,
Mm,
I have the statement. They
uh-huh.
said, Warner Music Korea has been working with 50/50 as an overseas distributor since April 1st, 2023.
Okay.
Since the contract was signed, we have been utilizing the capabilities of the network of Warner Music Group to ensure the shining success of 50/50 and their agency, so we are very sorry that such unfortunate suspicions were raised. Warner Music Korea has strived to do our best as a global distributor while respecting the opinions of artists and their agencies, as demonstrated by our various achievements. These claims made by Attract are groundless, and it's unfortunate that they sent a certification of contents, which I'm assuming is some
Like
sort of
a
like a subpoena or like,
cease and desist.
yeah, or like some sort
Like,
of
hey,
just
we see
like,
you're doing this.
yeah,
Stop.
or stop doing it,
An
or we
official
want to see
action.
your records about this
It
kind
doesn't
of thing.
surprise me that other companies are going to try to poach them when they just had this huge explosion
Yeah.
and they are on such a small company.
Hmm.
So like two things come to mind. One, you're a small company, you want to still, if you have a huge group like this that explodes, you want to do something with them. Obviously you don't want to let them go, but also is like, can you work with a partner that's actually capable
Yeah.
of, sustaining a group that has had such major,
Hmm.
spotlight put on
Yeah.
them. And I'm skeptical of all music companies,
Hmm.
entertainment companies, Warner Music, all the same. Like they're denying that they made any offers or that they alluded to anything,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't doubt that the sharks were in the water
Yeah.
circling.
Yeah, and I think the problem was not that like I don't think Warner Music Korea like really signs artists. I think the speculation was that they were like serving as like a middleman to
Yeah,
try to like link the group up with like other agencies.
all the big companies, like the big three, they're all tied with basically like a U.S. partner,
Yeah.
like as part of like
Hmm.
Western
Yeah.
distribution and things like that. So
Hmm.
it all gets
Yeah.
very messy. But they were obviously already working together with
Yeah.
Attract.
But the thing that they say, like, as a small company, they're powerless to compete with larger companies, and I think that's true from like a financial perspective.
Yeah, if they're like, we're gonna give you millions of dollars to come to us and break your exclusive contract, and we'll pay for you to get out of that exclusive
Yeah,
contract,
that
they
that's
can't compete with
they
that.
can't compete with that. But at the same time, the one thing you can do, I think, is do everything in good faith. So like this group explodes, you have to then like if they have issues, you have to negotiate with them in good faith and
Sure.
like with the intention of like showing them that you appreciate like that they're there with you.
Like you can't hold the artist back for
Yeah.
the sake of holding them back.
Yeah, or just for the sake of like it's like I
Your
understand
own
you.
gain as a
Yeah,
as a
exactly.
label.
And like if and I understand like it's all like it's a business and it's a
Yeah.
financial thing, but you do need to like still show a certain respect to like the individuals that you are like that you are employing.
Because the alternative is they're just gonna resent their, like, say they
Exactly.
get major offers from some major label competitor or whatever, they're just gonna resent Attract
Yeah.
if they force them into doing something that they don't necessarily want to do, or they don't have the
Yeah.
capabilities to do something
And
bigger.
or they somehow stunt their growth
They feel
in the
held back.
process.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um So then follows the fan
Fan
cafe
cafe
drama.
drama.
And I remember all this happening playing out on Twitter.
Okay.
So on June 27th, Attract claimed that an online fan cafe event was shut down by external forces.
Okay.
That's what they said.
Fan cafe is
It's just like a fan
like,
meet, I think,
okay,
kind of
okay.
thing, like an online fan
Yep.
meet kind of situation. So someone posted on the group's official Twitter account and said that it was canceled. And then Attract came back and said, this was not done by us, but was done due to the unauthorized account takeover by external forces. We
Mhm.
have confirmed that they have uploaded the post, which says they are going to shut down the official fan cafe. The managing account for the official fan cafe has been recovered. Attract is taking action as quickly as possible to ensure a smooth fan cafe use and prevent any further reoccurrences.
Now, why would anybody do that?
Yeah, so I'm thinking, I wonder if like the Givers was running the fan
Social?
cafe
Yeah.
or if the members were running I don't think the members have the authority to like go on Twitter and post
I think
the can
usually K-pop members are not
yes.
involved in that way.
Yeah, so I think that it might because I know they had like a promotional contract with the Givers, so maybe they went on the thing and said like, "Oh, the fan cafe is canceled," but Attract didn't want to cancel it. I think there's like a lot of
I
infighting
I
happening here. I
I
don't really
totally
understand what they mean by external forces.
yeah, I could see okay, the Givers has social access, whoever's running their
Hmm.
promotional stuff and access to the fan cafe, but I don't see any benefit in like canceling a fan cafe.
Yeah.
Unless there was something going on with a particular member or something, a member couldn't participate or was being
Hmm.
forced to participate and
Yeah.
didn't want to participate for whatever reason, that would be a reason that somebody would shut it down. But if we're talking about just companies being companies, I would assume they want the group doing
Yeah.
activities.
So
So,
it's this whole thing was a very strange development in the story, I feel like.
yeah.
And I feel like Attract is being like extremely vague with a lot of their like
Well,
accusations kind
they
of.
they might not know exactly who it was. They might have suspicion
Yeah.
of who it was, and they don't want to like defame Warner Music Korea or
Yeah.
the Givers or
Yeah.
whoever it may
Hmm.
be.
So,
Also, what if they just got trolled and somebody hacked their
yeah,
accounts?
exactly. Which is also what they could mean by external forces.
Yeah.
So it was a confusing situation and I don't think it happened, the fan cafe. I'm not 100% sure,
Okay.
but I'm pretty sure that it didn't happen. So, and then the lawsuits begin.
Okay.
So, on June 28th,
The fan cafe was happening on what date?
the 23rd.
So it's like all in the same week,
Yes.
basically.
But they actually filed the lawsuit on the 19th. So before the fan cafe, but it
Oh
wasn't
wow.
reported until the 28th. So on
Hmm.
28th, it's reported that the members of 50/50 filed a lawsuit on June 19th to break their exclusive contract. I think people are missing like that aspect of it. They're trying to get out of the exclusive contract. They just
Mm-hmm.
want to be able to sign another contract with another company and but they would still have their Attract contract.
Okay.
I believe is like the gist of it.
So based on this, and with the fan cafe thing being shut down, they were already like, if the lawsuit was filed on June 19th, they were already getting together, like doing internal like statements for the
Yeah,
lawsuit.
yeah,
They
exactly.
were putting everything together well before that. Let's say
Mhm,
even just a week before that, June 12th, which was
mhm.
probably longer. They didn't want to do that fan cafe.
No.
So somebody on the inside was on the side of the group, I
Yeah.
assume, and
Mhm.
was like, "This is not happening."
Or it was the givers. Because this, we'll get down to it in a second. What I think that is really happening here,
Okay.
but so they cite a violation of contractual obligations, lack of transparency in financial settlements, and medical negligence during promotions. They also filed trademarks for the group name and their stage names
Oh,
when they filed
okay.
the lawsuits.
Does Attract not already have the trademarks for their group name and stage names?
I'm not sure if if they're like trying to get them
It
or
says
if
they
they're just
filed.
filed them.
If they filed for it,
Yeah,
that would be funny if
yeah,
Attract didn't even have it.
yeah. But I'm pretty sure Attract does not own. It's this whole weird thing where like Attract, there's like another middle company that
That's not the Givers.
no, it's not the Givers that 50/50 is under. That
Mm,
Attract like it's like a whole
like
weird.
a
It's pretty common in the K-pop industry, I guess.
like a
But
holding company,
yeah, but I
basically.
couldn't really understand it.
Okay.
But they said it's pretty common in the K-pop industry, but I
Yeah.
didn't really want to get like too deep into it.
Yeah.
But that is like I'm pretty sure Attract does not own 50/50.
There's like a
Um,
bigger parent
yeah.
there.
So, but Attract accuses Warner Music and the Givers of convincing the members to do it. So
Mm-hmm.
both parties deny the claims, but Attract files a complaint with the Gangnam Police against An, who's the producer Xian,
Mm-hmm.
and three other individuals for fraud, breach of duty, and obstruction of business. So they sue back
Interesting.
at the
Yes.
Givers.
Okay.
But what I think is interesting about this is that when I was looking into this, I found an article about EXO.
Okay.
So EXO, like just this year in 2023,
Mm-hmm.
three of the members of EXO filed a lawsuit against SM,
Mm-hmm.
to break their exclusive contracts. Um, so and apparently this is not anything especially new in the K-pop industry. Um,
Well, of
so
course, because you have these young groups,
yeah,
they're gonna debut. They have no idea how successful they're gonna be. They take a chance. They sign whatever contract a
yeah,
label puts in front of them.
yeah,
It's like classic music
yeah.
industry.
So the thing with EXO is they wanted to terminate the exclusive contract so they could sign it. The three members wanted to sign a double contract with another company
Okay.
as maybe like a subunit or something
Hmm.
with a different group. And they also cited lack of transparency and financial settlements as the reason for the lawsuit. So I think the thing is like the group is making a certain amount of money, and probably based on the contract, the individuals are supposed to get a certain amount of the money that is made. But if the company doesn't show you like what they're spending the money
Hmm.
on, then
If the company doesn't show you what money they're getting, like, oh, you're
yes,
getting this, you guys have a deal with whatever Pepsi,
yeah,
uh, and then great, the group does all the stuff for that, and they get some money as
yeah,
a result. But if they never actually know how much the deal is made for, how do they know they're getting their
yeah.
cut?
And then the other part of it is that like the the companies will also take out like housing and training money and like all this stuff. So what ended up happening is SM provided like documents to them that was
Hmm.
like, this is the money we spent on your housing, your training, your
Hmm.
this, your that, like makeup, like I think they gave
They
them like
just did the full
itemized, yeah.
transparency.
And then they ended up settling that lawsuit
Hmm.
with SM, the three members not breaking their contracts, but they did not disclose the details of the settlement.
Oh,
But I'm imagining that they probably got something in return, like it's more like a better contracts or
right.
what, because they settled, and that settlement happened in June 2023.
Oh, wow.
Like it just happened like last month.
Good for them. Good
Yeah,
for EXO. Well, I hope it worked out. We don't know
yeah.
the details,
hmm
but
But of course, also, I think the thing that with that is that the 50-50 members are getting this like reputation as being like a backstabbing group. Like
oh,
they have like the negative, they're getting a lot of negative press in Korea, and people are looking at them like there's some like they're traitors.
I think that's crazy. I think we have to be on the side of the workers,
I
the
Yeah,
artists
that's what
in any
like yeah.
situation. Like,
That's what, like I'm always on the side of the individual, I
yeah,
feel like,
yeah.
as opposed to like a business, a corporation of some sort. And um I just think it's weird because I didn't see the same kind of like vitriol towards EXO, but SM is also a much
Mm,
larger company, so I
but
can understand like, and EXO is more
EXO doesn't have this sort of big spotlight moment
yeah.
where they had a big single like
Mhm.
break overseas with all of this like spotlight on them. Western audience. Being the only girl group on
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
Top list. They're not in the same exact situation.
Yeah. Mhm.
Less spotlight, I guess. But sexism is a thing.
That's true.
These
Yeah.
are female members, and
Mhm.
these are fairly new. So on the other side of that too is like 50-50 never had a chance. They have some fans, right? And I'm sure they have some like stands, some like real deep fans, but they don't have longevity that like
Yeah.
EXO has had as well.
That's true.
Wow.
Mhm. So, Attract also claims that the producer Xian, who is the CEO of The Givers, deleted project-related data for Cupid and secretly bought the copyright from three Swedish composers who worked on the song in order to own a larger share of the copyright. So he, without telling them, like went and bought more of the copyright from other people who worked on the song, so that he would have the larger share of the copyright for the song.
So
Exactly. Like I don't understand why that's bad. Like I
it's not
don't.
illegal.
Yeah, unless it is for some
Well,
reason,
like
but
maybe deleting the project related data, but
unless they had something in their
there's
contract
a
that says,
producer. He didn't delete the project.
yeah,
He didn't. He might be telling them he deleted it. He can't do anything with it, but for sure he didn't. Well,
yeah,
speculation.
yeah,
But also, you can buy out the other copyright holders of a song. Like
if you want to.
it
The CEO of Attract could have done that if you wanted to.
right. There's no way, no music contract, business contract ever would say you own this much of the song and you can never buy more shares and you can never sell your shares.
Yeah,
No way.
yeah. So Attract also claims that he was the one that approached Warner Music to sell the group to them and entice the members to attempt to break their contracts, which I think theoretically could be true.
It could be true, and it could be so messy that like he could have misrepresented himself as even having that authority.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And then I think basically, I think now, like, I think at the end of the day, there's two reasons why the members of 50-50 would have even started this whole lawsuit thing.
Hmm.
One is because there was actual
Mistreatment.
mistreatment, like for the medical stuff. Like
Yep.
they were trying to force them to promote when one of the members was not physically capable of doing it.
That's
And
one that we know about.
yeah, and the second reason is that they got bad advice. Those are the only two possible reasons I could think
They
is that
got bad advice to
to
that
try,
they could win this lawsuit, basically. That
yeah,
they should.
that or that this was possible or that this was
Okay.
something that they should do. Because at the end of the day, I think what people are forgetting is that these are like kids. They're like 18, 19, 20 years old
Sure.
probably. Like, and it's like they don't know about all of this legal stuff and all of these
Yeah.
contract stuff and all of this whatever. So like either they it's like one, we're getting mistreated, like actually, and we need to get out of this, or two, someone goes to them and says, like, oh, I can get you out of the contract and we can sign with a bigger company. You guys can get more money, be famous overseas, all this stuff, and it's really not a big deal. Like I can take care of it all. And like I
Yeah.
don't think like do you think them personally as people would just be like, oh, let's get out of this and get more famous? Like,
I just think there's such a precedent with K-pop that the history would show that like I don't think many groups that debut and have a big moment
mhm,
right after their debut, you're not looking to get out of your contract just because you've had big massive success unless there is
a
that
problem.
mistreatment
Yeah.
and a problem there. And like I think probably with any group, I'm trying to think of like if I think about how New Jeans like debut and like they exploded after debut, they were under one of the biggest
Yeah.
companies. So I can't imagine that comparison of like if people were trying to poach them. I don't think
Yeah.
that would happen because they're already under a big three. This is a unique situation because they're on such a small company looking to get poached left and right. I think regardless of whatever's happening in the background, there's for sure a way to do this amicably
Yeah.
where they don't have to like leave. Some people can step in and help them like achieve their full potential
Mhm.
after this big explosion of popularity. I don't see them being like, yeah, let's get out of it. Let's go to this. I see it as, I mean, she had to get surgery, which means something was up anyway.
Yeah.
That's confirmed. Um, if there were other medical situations we don't know about, who knows? But I would have to speculate that there's probably something wrong and there has to be a reason for them to want to leave.
Yeah. So then following the lawsuit coming out, the Barbie music video shoot was canceled. So they have a song on the Barbie
Crazy.
soundtrack. So Attrakt wanted to shoot the music video for the song Barbie Dreams for the Barbie OST, but it was reported that the members shut down the shoot.
So that's the thing about this. And even with the EXO example that you mentioned, the artists have all the power.
Yeah.
You can sit there and say, I am not doing this.
Yeah.
I'm not singing. I'm not dancing. I'm
Mhm.
not being in your video.
And that's the thing is like obviously you signed a contract, but I wonder like what the like it's like if you break the contract, it's not like you're going to prison or
But like an
something.
individual, okay, I'm bankrupt. Sue me.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
like I have no money. You
Yeah.
have all my money
Yeah.
basically. It's only in the company's interest to keep the members happy, to keep them working,
Mhm.
to like like have a group that wants to be a group.
Yeah.
So that's why I lean towards like there has to be some level of mistreatment here because I think a small group, a small company plus a group that has gained a lot of popularity, I think the group and the members have a lot more power than the company in that
Mhm.
situation. The fans don't care about like the fans that heard the song that use it on TikTok that, watch their videos, they don't care about Attract.
Yeah.
They care about the group.
But it seems like that. Actually, we'll cover what I think about this in a second.
Okay.
But so I tried to obviously claim that they canceled due to the recovery from the surgery. And the current situation with the lawsuit obviously making it difficult to get it done. And they also canceled their KCON LA appearance, which
Crazy,
they were supposed
crazy,
to come.
crazy.
They were going to be right down the street from us, and
Yes.
they're not coming. And this was fairly recent. So on July 18th, the Korean Music Copyright Association announced it will postpone the royalty payments earned from Cupid at the request of Attract, and they'll pay it out after the copyright dispute is settled. And the
Hmm.
copyright dispute is that it was reported that when he bought the copyright from the two Swedish producers,
Hmm.
he forged their signatures on the paper.
So maybe he did not buy
Yeah.
there.
So
Shares.
I'm not sure if that's true or not, but because that report came out, Attract like requested to postpone the royalty payments, and Korean Music Copyright Association actually is postponing the royalty payments
So
until they figure out how much of the copyright he actually owns.
So they're doing an investigation on
Yeah.
that.
So
Well, that actually makes. Why would they sign over their shares of that
Yeah,
song.
yeah, it makes no sense.
We would have to look at the timeline of when it happened,
Mhm.
but if this even if the song like had just debuted and hadn't really blown up in America yet, I could see maybe they take a payment like
Yeah,
for more shares of the song, but did it happen that fast? If
yeah.
if it happened at any point after this song started blowing up in America,
They would never
there's
still
no way they
yeah,
would have ever sold their
yeah.
rights.
So, I thought this was,
Ooh,
like, an
shady,
interesting part yeah,
shady.
so, like, some just a little well, a
This
lot of
makes me second guess this
yeah,
producer
the
guy
guy, yeah,
here.
a lot of well, I think ultimately we'll talk about the other rumors, and then I'll give you my full thoughts on
Okay,
what I think. So, on
these
July
are
10th,
just rumors.
these are rumors that I read. I'm not sure how, like
K-pop culture,
yes.
K-pop fans, great at making up a story.
Yeah, and, like, it comes out on these, like, websites, like
Yeah, there's no
Korea
direct
Boo and, like,
source.
all
Yeah.
K-pop and stuff, and it's like so I don't know what's real and what's not real, so I just thought I'd throw them all at the end to kind of,
Hmm.
like, just talk about what some of, like, the rumors that are going around.
Yeah.
Um, so on July 10th, a report claims that experts believe that the members' arguments are not valid and won't hold up in court.
Okay.
So there, that was like someone reported that like a legal expert said that.
Okay.
So I don't really know. But and then on July 11th, two reports came out. Attract responds to a report saying that 50/50 is set to receive billions of won in royalties, saying that it's not true. But I don't understand how that could not be true. Like I don't know if they mean the members or if they're like, oh no, we're not making billions of
Like
dollars.
50-50, the company, basically.
Or like Attract is saying like, "Oh no, we're not gonna make billions off this," which
Hmm.
I feel like they will.
It would be
They'll
insane for them to
and
not.
yeah, they're gonna make money off the song.
Off of just I mean, the streaming is not going to be that much, but if the song is getting licensed anywhere, I mean, the thing is, all of their essentially money for that song for Cupid, they didn't do US promotion for it.
Mhm.
I don't know if the song is licensed anywhere. I haven't heard it in any commercials or
Yeah,
trailers or anything, but it could. So if a bulk of it, the money is coming from streams on Instagram and TikTok, which are basically amounting to nothing, even though
yeah.
it's viral, and then plus normal streaming like Apple
Mhm.
Music and everything,
They
it
might not
it
make money.
might not be that much
Yeah,
money. Like
yeah,
a Spotify stream is like 0.0000001
yeah. Mhm.
cent, like less than one
Yeah.
cent per stream. So
Mhm.
and then they have to be getting paid something for the Barbie movie, even though they did not make a
Yeah, of
music
course,
video for it.
the song is on the soundtrack.
So that's and that that's probably a Warner Music soundtrack too.
Yeah.
So that's probably all involved there.
Mhm.
Um, it could, yeah, it could be true. Like, because here's what would happen: the song would have blown up. They could have done promotions in the U.S.
Mhm.
They could have done brand deals associated with those
Yeah.
promotions. Like that would have been where a bulk of the money, the
Mhm.
income would have been coming from. It's not gonna. That's why you see K-pop groups doing all these brand collaborations. Like
Yeah.
it's so the money is so beyond just the music. The music is kind of the thing
It's
that's gonna bring in the least amount of
yeah,
money.
it brings in the least amount of money, but the most amount of like
It makes them who
fans.
they are,
Yeah.
right? Like the
It
music
gives you
is.
your fans,
Yeah, yeah.
but it doesn't make you money. And then they also, on this day, netizens
Ah,
claim
the
that
netizens.
an account leaving comments in support of 50/50 is actually one of the members' uncles, and they like chase the guy off social media, and he deletes all his comments and accounts and stuff.
uh,
So it's funny.
so wait, who chased them off social media?
Everyone, they
Attract?
just no, they just all the people. So
Oh, because people are against 50-50 in this
yeah,
situation.
so the public sentiment is very against 50/50 in Korea.
That's
And
crazy.
um, I think a lot of it. So the thing is we're hearing a lot from one side.
Yeah.
Attract is saying a lot, and the actual members of 50/50 are saying very little, which shows to me that they're actually planning to take this to court. Because if you have a lawsuit pending, you're not going to talk about what's going on.
Yeah.
And
Or
I think the reason I think you said the members have all the power.
mhm,
The problem is that Attract is playing the public sentiment card,
true.
and they have turned them into villains
Yeah, so
in
like
Korea.
now like the artists have the power when they have fans and when they have people that want to hear the music and want to see them do
Mhm.
activities. If they don't have that anymore,
Then, but I just don't understand it because you're also shooting yourself in the foot.
yeah, yeah.
Whatever Attract wanted to get out of it,
It's a huge game of chicken and
yes,
they're both going to
they're
lose it
both
seems.
losing because whatever Attract wanted, like, okay, you want them to not be able to break their contracts. Okay, well now everyone hates them.
Yeah.
And it's like I just don't really understand the strategy. I feel like what is he trying to get damages from like the givers or something? And like I don't really understand the
Yeah, like
game
maybe
plan.
because let's say this ends and they drop 50-50, or the whole thing ends and 50-50 never performs again.
Hmm.
They no longer have them as an artist. The only thing they have is like any new artists that they want to break, and a little bit of, people will know the name Attract after
Yeah.
this,
Hmm.
and they'll have, a little bit of money coming in
Yeah.
from the song stream
Hmm.
royalties.
Yeah.
Not enough to run a company though, I
Yeah.
would say.
And then there's a couple more rumors. On July 12th, someone who claims to work at an eyewear brand
Uh huh.
claimed that 50/50 was offered a deal with an amount of money on the level with New Jeans.
I can see that.
The person claims that the Attract CEO was on a business trip in the US, so they spoke with the CEO of the Givers, Xian, instead, and he never relayed the offer to um, the Attract. And people speculate that he was keeping it a secret so that they could sign the deal
And
after they
then do
got
the
out of the
deal.
deal. After they got out of the deal, then he would go back to the eyewear company and say like, "Oh, we'll do it now." But I just don't understand where like the Givers doesn't own the group either.
But this is like all tying together now,
Yeah.
because now this is just a rumor, but the previous history that has pretty much like been
Mhm.
confirmed with the Warner Music connection,
Yeah.
and what Tract is saying they think is happening. This
It's lining up a little bit.
He's coming out. What is his name? Xian.
Xian, yeah.
He's coming out to be seeming like a shady thing, and it
Yes.
just seems like people didn't actually know who they needed to be talking to,
Yeah.
like who actually had ownership of the group. He could have been
Exactly.
misrepresenting
Yeah.
that he was an owner of the group. Oof,
So,
that's bad.
and then on July 17th, like I said, Dispatch reported that it was alleged that he forged the Swedish songwriter's signatures in order to transfer the copyrights to himself. And then if so, they said that if it's true, the transfer will obviously be suspended.
Yeah.
And that was the Korean Copyright
If
Association.
What does that have to? How do they prove that true? Because
I
maybe
mean, you
you're
just
the
have to
Swedish.
go ask the Swedish guys
No,
because
because
they can just say no, oh, no, I didn't sign it,
yeah, and they could
and
have.
yeah.
I guess you would have to see the signatures.
Yeah, and they showed pictures of the signatures in the article, but it was like I don't really care. Like, how are we? What am I
Yeah, yeah,
handwriting
and even so, like they were
analyst?
involved in business anyway,
Yeah,
so he would have had access to their signatures at
yeah,
some point if he wanted to forge them. It's all digital now anyway,
yeah.
so
Mhm.
wow.
So there's a lot to happen here, and then I read an article today which really annoyed me.
Okay.
And the article was 50/50 face massive backlash after Attract releases damning phone conversation.
Damning.
But the phone conversation is not like with 50/50 on the line or with the CEO of the Givers on the line. It was just a conversation with the CEO of Attract talking to somebody saying about how much like he's like, "Oh, I sold my car and this and
Uh,
invested it into this company to make this group famous." Blah, blah.
mm-hmm.
And like at the end of the day, it's like that doesn't mean anything or prove anything.
He's just so he
It's
just
just
told a sob story
it
basically.
yeah, he's just like mulling up sympathy for himself.
It's a
And
sob story mixed with this like, oh, it's so interesting because it's a leaked phone conversation, but it's basically like he did a podcast with somebody and released
yeah,
it and
but
called
like
it a phone
but
conversation.
even if it was like a real phone conversation from like months ago where he like says all that stuff, it's like
Doesn't change
it
anything.
doesn't change the real like that's your company and your investment. You can like that's a
Yeah,
personal decision you made. It's
it's
like,
not damning
but
though.
it's not. It means nothing to what's actually happening in the
Maybe you could say
situation.
it speaks to his character. Like, okay, he cares a lot about
Yeah.
the success of the company, of
Hmm.
course, success of the group. But we expected that anyway. This doesn't change what I think about
Yeah.
this situation. However, I will say, based on all the things that we just saw, it does sound like I'm not going to put it on the group members, but what you were saying earlier about
Yeah.
them kind of like being deceived, perhaps,
Yeah.
into thinking that they could,
Yeah.
win a lawsuit like this. I'm leaning more that way
Yeah.
based on all this.
Yeah. So I think that what we're seeing is a power struggle between these two men,
Mm-hmm.
the CEO of Attract and the CEO of the Givers. And there's like a bit of a power struggle. There's just a power struggle happening here
Yep.
where they both refuse to like let go of what their like end goal is.
Yeah.
So they're just going back and forth. And I think unfortunately, the sad part is that this group is like caught in the middle.
Yeah.
And maybe they made a poor decision, or maybe they were misled, or maybe they were mistreated, and we're
Mm-hmm.
only hearing the Attract side of the story anyway. Everything was
Yep.
like Attract says this, Attract says that, Attract
Yeah.
says this, and nothing has come out from the group of like in like statements about like what the real situation was or from their perspective or anything.
But we
So
do know that they are investigating the copyright situation.
yeah, so I think it is likely that this guy, the CEO of the Givers, is a bit of a con artist or a bit of a
If that
snake
proves to be
oil
true.
salesman
Yeah,
or
if that proves to be true.
yeah,
If they discover that yes, he did forge those signatures, then I'll believe pretty much most of what Attract is saying.
yeah,
If Attract, they could literally just be making that up and
yeah,
trying to stir the pot. And
exactly.
so if that's proven untrue, then that changes things.
Yeah. So it's a bit of a weird situation for sure.
Yeah.
Here I just put like a bit of a timeline of like the kind of major points, but we already talked about everything.
Yeah.
So
What I was gonna say about that like damning phone call where he
yeah,
talks about his sacrifice and everything. There's another CEO, same story.
yeah,
Well, G-Friend, G-Friend, when G-Friend was starting out,
oh yeah, yeah,
it was like he refinanced his house or
yeah, yeah,
something.
yeah, because they're like
Um,
a small label.
it's not even like that's an uncommon story or an
Yeah,
unheard of story.
and I think like the funniest part is that like with I think with Gfriend you see that like all you need is one group.
Yeah,
If you hit on one group, it's like Big Hit bought their label.
yeah,
Like Source Music is like a Hype label now.
yep,
And like I don't know if it was Big Hit that bought it or Hype labels, whatever,
yeah, yeah.
that bought it, but like that's Source Music. Like Le Seraphim is on Source Music.
Mm-hmm.
That was G Friend's label that ended up getting bought by Hype labels. And it's like so this I think in the eyes of the guy in Attract, it's like he hit it. He's like, "Oh, I did it. Like I
Yeah,
got the group that is going to I can sell the label or
yeah,
like I am now set." And it's like that is like slipping through his fingers.
yeah.
But
It
I
moved
think
too fast.
it's slipping through his fingers, but I think like the whole public sentiment thing is making it so that it's like you can never pull it back in. It's like now it's like if they settle, are you going to be able to like totally reform or like, you know, like totally change the public's opinion on them again
Yeah,
back to like, oh, we like I don't know, the things I've seen like of what people say about the group, it's vicious. Like
yeah.
people in Korea, a lot of people are like hate them.
And so what do you do about that? You could, if somehow this became an amicable situation, they decide to continue working together and continue on,
Mhm.
they could just go entirely to the West.
Yeah, that's true. Because I
But
think people here would not care about that at all.
yeah,
People here, I think in the U.S., most people would side with
but even
the
the
members.
other thing about that is lightning rarely strikes twice.
Yes.
They had this song pop off in the West that nobody would have ever expected.
Mm-hmm.
They had, from that success, they got put on to the Barbie soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are they like? Even for a group that was not having this type of legal situation and this kind of internal conflict, topping that would
Yeah.
be difficult,
Mm-hmm.
even for them. So them even having all these issues, us trying to capitalize on the success that they just had, not looking good. It's a little difficult.
So I think ultimately,
Hmm.
with this situation, the unfortunate part is that it's like they get famous, and it's like everyone involved wants to capitalize on this momentum that they've built.
Yeah,
But what ended up happening is that everyone involved just kind of like snuffed out anything that they had
they
going
could
on.
have all worked together and
Yes.
had something going. That is also say that's completely from a business perspective.
Yeah.
If the members themselves were being mistreated and it was not a healthy situation or something, then I'm
It's not
happy
worth
that
being
they're getting
famous.
their way
Yeah.
out of it.
Yeah.
But if that wasn't the case, they kind of all played their cards. Not the group, the everybody involved
Yes.
business wise played their cards completely
Yeah.
wrong.
What I see is like two men who wanted to like maximize it to make as much money as they possibly could for themselves.
Hmm.
And what they did is ended up making the minimum amount of money they could have made
Yeah,
for themselves.
but on one hand, if one of those guys was misleading people
Hmm.
and forging signatures and blah blah, that's one thing. If the CEO of Attract was trying to have a successful entertainment company and break this group, break them out into the culture, um, then one is kind of justified in their actions and the
Hmm.
other is not.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. The more I read, the more I thought that the CEO of the Givers is there's something
Something
weird.
going
So
on.
there might be something weird going on there. And I think that it's very possible that there is the potential that he like got in the ear of the members or something, and with some story or some like, oh, this is what we can do to like,
Yeah,
whatever. But for the way I think about it is that th- the members of 50-50, they're so young. They're just starting to like flirt with this like being famous,
hmm
and like their song is everywhere. And I just don't necessarily feel like they were being in any way malicious in what they're trying to do. Like I
right.
don't think that they were trying to like I just like can't imagine that this was in any way their idea,
They were
unless
big scheming,
yeah,
you
unless
know.
there was some sort of mistreatment going on.
Yeah, I imagine they had somebody in their ear saying you can do this, this, and this, and oh, I have this power.
Yeah.
So if you do this, it'll be fine. We'll back you, no worries.
Yeah.
I totally don't think that, and I think the only way I could see this situation recovering is if you know they got to put out a documentary.
Yeah. Yeah.
They
I
got to expose. They would have to, if they want to win back any public rapport, and they were going to go back to being a group, whether it's on Attract or on the Givers,
mhm.
whatever. They would have to release a massively like transparent documentary, video diary, something about that time, about what was going on,
Mhm.
so people could have some sympathy for them
Yeah.
and say this is what was happening and we couldn't talk about it because blah blah blah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And whether that's either way, whether it's like, oh, we were being mistreated by the company and this is what that looked like, or it was like, we were totally misled by this producer. He told us he could do all these things, but that wasn't actually true.
Yeah.
Either way, if they do that, they could, I think there's a chance that they could recover
Yeah.
and continue to have a career. Not, like I
Yeah.
said, lightning doesn't strike twice
Mhm.
usually.
So it's been it was quite a lot looking into all that stuff and like
Yeah,
trying to like parse through all the information. But yeah,
we talked about that.
we talked
I don't think
yeah.
they're traders. I think they're kids. I think they're artists. I think they're the workers. They're the ones who have all the, you know, without them, there is no 50-50.
Yeah, exactly. Like without 50-50, there is no like attract in this situation.
Right.
So like I think like it kind of is like the label should feel like obviously the member should feel lucky, but the label also should feel lucky.
Lucky.
Like
Yeah.
you're lucky that you have this opportunity and stuff, and it's kind of being wasted.
If you can have that relationship, I see this the more I watch like JYP artists, because there's a lot of transparency in that, in video diaries and things like that. Itzy being a recent one. You have, first of all, an artist led label
Mm.
by JYP.
Yeah.
Um, and it seems, well, from what I see on cameras, like who can say what's real, but it seems that there's a close sort of like mentorship relationship,
Yeah.
even from like artists having writing credit,
Hmm.
and the way he pushes artists to perform, and the relationship they seem to have with him as the boss of the company.
Yeah.
If you have that type of relationship with an artist, or the artists have that type of relationship with a label, it can mean for a really great relationship,
Yeah.
business wise and artistically. I mean, you look at Twice, who re signed their contract, all 9 members,
Yeah.
after such a long time, which to me, every K pop artist, by the time your contract comes up to expire, if you're a group like Twice or if you're a group like Blackpink, you have a ton of leverage. You
Yeah.
could probably go anywhere.
Hmm.
So if you're re signing with the same label, that means either you got a great offer, or you really like the company, or both.
Yeah.
If if companies can have a good relationship with their artists, they can completely
Yeah.
avoid this. But
But it seems very like yeah, this is more like the business side of it.
yeah,
It's like both of it's like the CEO of Attract and the CEO of the Givers are both like acting with like a single-minded focus on like how to how they themselves can be the most like successful off of this situation, I feel. Um but maybe more so the CEO of the Givers is kind of like
yeah, because the Attract lost all their power as soon as 50-50 decided they were not going to participate in any
yeah.
activities.
Hmm.
Basically, they can't force them to
Yeah.
do any activities.
But
So
I feel like it's like the I don't know, like, I don't think Attract has really tried to like smear the group in any way, like openly.
they've basically only said, "Oh, other companies are trying to poach them.
Yeah,
Uh, somebody hacked our Twitter or
yeah,
something." They're basically only talking about it in business terms. They're not talking about individual members. They're not saying like, "Oh, these kids are being brats and don't want to perform." They're not saying that.
Yeah.
Um,
But it's kind of interesting because just the way that the public sentiment turned towards them, it almost doesn't benefit them at the
yeah,
same time. It benefits them if I guess if 50-50 does end up leaving, it does benefit Attract to have public sentiment rather than to not have it.
sure. Like they could come up with a big sob story. Oh, it didn't work out with 50-50. You guys saw what happened. Here's
Yeah.
our new group,
Yeah.
60-60.
Yeah, exactly. But if they end up staying with them, then I feel like this is a negative
They got to mend. They
for
have,
everyone.
like I said, they have to. They have
Yeah.
to full transparency, tell the entire story.
Yeah.
Um, and get the public back on their
Hmm.
side and release great
Yeah.
music.
But if the story was medical negligence and they end up staying with the tract, then nobody can tell that story.
Well, think about this. If you ever had like a good relationship with somebody, you probably have no problem telling them, "Oh, I'm going through this. I have to go to the doctor. I really can't perform today," or whatever.
Yeah.
If you don't have that good relationship, you don't feel comfortable, you feel like there's pressure to not express that.
Yeah.
Like but like I said, it could all be a human situation where it's like the attract doesn't understand the pressures. 50-50 perhaps doesn't know how to communicate the pressures. I have no idea.
Yeah.
Who knows? But I hope it can get resolved, obviously, because they have a lot of potential
Yeah.
and they're so young. And to have a smash hit song like that, it only can happen so often for a group. I hope it turns out positive for all of them, and I hope one day we do get to hear the full story
Yeah.
of what happened.
Hmm. Yeah. And I think in situations like these that are so kind of like business related,
Hmm.
that like I don't it bothers me when like that people have turned so hard on the members as like
Yeah, I
individuals.
think that I
It's like this does
wish.
not speak to their character in any way. I feel like it's like this does not like I don't know. I don't understand why people think like
I
that.
hope after people watch this, at least in this analysis, they can see everything that you kind of put together here and see that we didn't really talk about any individual members' actions that led to this,
Yeah,
other
like
than the lawsuit being filed, which was in conjunction with two other bigger entities.
mhm,
CEO of the Givers plus Warner Music Korea, or if that's what Attract
yeah,
alleges.
yeah,
And those are very impressionable young people, artists with everything on the line that
mhm,
are thrust into the limelight in a way they probably never expected. That's hard to handle for anybody. So I wish people would be more measured and not make it this personal. K-pop's like that though. It's the
yeah,
parasocial
yeah,
aspect of it, where it's like it's these people. I
yeah,
know these people, and I know they're bad.
yeah,
I hope I wish people didn't think that way. It's much more likely that the problem is capitalism, the
mhm,
business.
yeah. Mhm. But I guess we'll have to maybe when if this ever gets resolved,
Yeah,
we
we can
can
do a follow up.
follow up and like look back on what actually happened. But I am curious to see like how it goes. But it's like now it's like every single day some crazy reports are coming out, this and that,
Rumors,
and there's really no
merit.
yeah, and I don't know like what when there's gonna what's like the plan if it's supposed to go to court is like, and I won't believe anything until like there's an actual like resolution to the case.
It's happening in Korea, so I know nothing about
Yeah,
Korean justice system. But
yeah,
in America, usually stuff comes out.
yeah.
Knowing that Korea is a little similar to America,
Hmm.
hopefully, once the lawsuit starts, we'll have access to more information. But would love to hear people's thoughts in the comments after you watch this part of the video. Actually, if you made it to this part of the video, what's a good song by 50-50? Your favorite song?
Loving me.
Joe's song is "Lovin' Me." Write that at the bottom of your comments so I know that you watched the whole video and didn't just comment after watching 1 minute of the video. Uh, so that's gonna be for now. If you want more deep dives and analysis like this, let us know as well. Like this video, subscribe, turn on notifications for future videos. We might do an update on this, but of course we have other reactions, more lighthearted stuff on the channel as well. That's gonna be it for now. My name's Nick,
And I'm Joe.
and we're
Nick
Nick and
and Joe.
Joe.